What's up YouTube? I'm just another guy and welcome back to my rise to fame. So here we are. We're at the 3rd of December. We've got the live com against Manchester City. We've got quite a bit to go through, so let's go through it. I'm going to start off at Brazil because we've had a few fixtures that have been and gone since I last saw you at the Super Classico. We've started our World Cup qualifiers. We've played 4 games so far and we've got 4 wins out of 4. It's been brilliant. I've still got a record of winning every single game I've been in charge of Brazil. The squad is looking very, very nice. You know, we won 3-1 against Chile with a pretty much the same team that won in the Copa America and even the Super Classico. So a pretty standard team from us here in the 3-1 victory. And same with the 4-1 victory against Ecuador because it's pretty much the same squad. So, you know, 2 great victories in a row. Neymar picked up a hat-trick as well against Ecuador. Barbosa got himself a late goal. Then in our next call up in a month later in November, so it's not even too long ago since I've won these 2 games. Slightly rotated team up. Selected a few new people, a few different people. I've even got a new goalkeeper in goal. We've got Schumacher, I think, is going to be the goalkeeper for our World Cup. He's 24, Benfica. With a name like Schumacher, you'd think he was German, and he did play for the German youth team at the under-21s level. But he is Brazilian-born, so he's not like he's German-born and we've persuaded him to come over to Brazil. It was more Germany persuaded him to play for them at a youth setup with maybe the idea that he could go on in the future. But yeah, we don't really have much quality in the goalkeeping department. Schumacher looks like a class player. He's playing in Europe. He's playing very well in Europe as well, in the Portuguese league, which is a very decent league. So I think Schumacher is going to be our new goalkeeper for the upcoming times, and you'll probably see him a bit more in the future. But yeah, again, it was a pretty standard team. A few names returning. Piera, who was absolutely world class in his save. Antonio Fernando as well was on the bench, and he came on and scored a goal in the 90th minute, scored a penalty, and that was his first ever goal for Brazil. And after that, we beat Venezuela 2-1. A little disappointed with this scoreline, but that's me being very nitpicky because Venezuela had lost their previous 2 qualifiers by I think a 5-goal margin minimum. So I was expecting a big goal scoring fest for us, but it didn't really work out that way. I did rotate a lot of people. That was probably why I'd like backup left back in and my backup centre back. Pretty much all the attacking midfield. Centre midfielder was different. Our defensive midfielder was different. Antonio Fernando started the game. Didn't really have a good game of that. So I did rotate the lineup to allow those people who were slightly tired to be rested, and so they could go back to club football a little bit fitter and a little bit fresher than maybe they were before. So, you know, it's still a win. Still 4 wins out of 4. We're the only team currently in the World Cup qualifying for South America to have a 100% record. Even Argentina were held to a draw by, I think it was Colombia, wasn't it? No, it's actually Paraguay, so not even the team I'd expect. So we're doing very well. We're looking on course to qualify. I mean, I think we'll wrap up the qualifying maybe around this time. I think we'll wrap it up with maybe 4 odd games remaining. That we should be in the top 4, I think it is, to actually go through. Yeah, top 4 go through. 5th goes into a playoff against like another team from another place in the world. So I think we're pretty much comfortable through. It's just about picking the right team and picking players that, you know, are going to be young enough to play. Because a thing and a doubt that's constantly in my mind is that, is Neymar going to be good enough in a few years' time? Is Oscar going to be good enough in a few years' time? What about Rafinha? What about my defenders? Are they going to be good enough in a few years' time? Or is their age going to finally affect them and start deteriorating their stats? So it's a constant thing I have in my mind. We've got a lot of very good young players in the team. You know, if you just look at the squad that I had out in the previous match, you know, Antonio Fernando's only 22, Pereira's only 22. Even people that were being rested for that game, Luis Fernando, Francisco Thiago, even some of the defenders, you know, Dequino, Victor Hugo, they're very good players. It's just that, you know, when should I start circulating them in? Because I've already done it for the keeper. We've got rid of Castillo. He's not going to be called up anymore because Schumacher's going to be our starting man and going to be our first choice goalkeeper. Should I start doing it for people like Oscar? Because I don't really want to be calling people up who've not got many caps for the big World Cup because the pressure may get to them. Although it may not, you know, you never know really. But anyway, that's Brazil. Looking good, looking great with Brazil. To Chelsea. And let's go into the competitions because that gives us the best summary. So, we are top of the Premier League by 1 point. We do currently have a game in hand, and that's today's game against Manchester City. We're the only team in the league to be undefeated. Manchester City were as well the only team to be undefeated in the league up until a few games ago because they've lost their past 2 Premier League games against Manchester United and West Bromwich Albion. So I'm very confident going into this game that we can pick up a result. Ourselves, we just came off a 4-4 disappointing defeat. Sorry, we just came off a 4-4 draw in the league to Swansea, of whom we have in the Capital One Cup quarter-final. I'm very confident we can get a victory in the Capital One Cup quarter-final, pull ourselves through to the semi-final there. So, you know, I've no real doubt that we can beat Swansea. It was just a really poor game, and I'll show you in a second. We shouldn't have drawn the game anyway. We should have won it. And it was complete BS that they even scored 4 against us. And also in the Champions League, we qualified. We have qualified. We already knew we were qualified by the 4th game. And even in the 5th game, I actually rotated the starting 11 completely. I played a complete youth squad in the 5th game against Partizan, and we still won. It means we're top of the group, even with a game spare. We can, we can throw out a weaker team against, I think Sevilla is our last game. It is, so I'll probably play a weakened team against Sevilla just so we can rest up and rotate a few people, so they're fit for the upcoming December fixtures and January fixtures and stuff. So, yeah, Champions League is looking great. We look really, really good. Like I said, we've not lost at all this league season, not in any competition. So we are looking on form to try and win the quad this year. In fact, it wouldn't even be a quad. It would be a 5 trophies. I don't even know what 5 trophies is. Is it a quintuple? Quintuplet or something? I don't even know. Yeah, so let's run through the fixtures. So last time I saw you, it was just after the Newcastle game. We just won 4-2, I believe. So anyway, after that, we drew 2-2 to Stoke. Yet again, another disappointing draw. I guess it was the fact that we had to play a rotated back 4 because we had a few injuries and stuff in the defence, which did mean Stones, who's naturally our right back, was playing centre back. Sutar, who is normally on the bench, was starting. Bellamy was playing our left back, normally Friera, and Ivan, of course, like I say, Stones is normally there. So we had the back 4 completely rearranged and new faces in, and I think that did cost us the game. I think that did cost us 2 points. I felt with a stronger back 4, we would have done better. Still to score 2 goals was pretty decent. We did get a man sent off as well, John Sutar in the 93rd minute, but the game was over at that point. But still a disappointing draw in my opinion. We should have done better, and I think the defence did hinder us. After that, we went and played Partizan in the Champions League away from home, won 2-0. Very nice and comfortable performance. They got themselves a man sent off in the 18th minute. John Sutar got himself sent off in the 54th minute, which led to a level playing field, 10v10. But at that point, we were already 1-0 up. Jean-Claude Cabot added to his first in the 87th minute, making it 2-0. He had a chance to score himself a hat-trick in the Champions League, but couldn't capitalise on it. Unlucky for him there. But it was expected victory and a really dominant performance against Partizan. We then beat West Brom 1-0 in a pretty boring game. Jean-Claude Cabot getting the only goal of the match. We beat Aston Villa 4-0 in a slightly rotated lineup because we had Manchester United in the next league game. Hector scored a hat-trick on his first ever start, and Eden Hazard came on as a sub to score as well. We also had a few younger people in the team like Luke Emery, a youth player, and Kearns as well played in this game. Who has actually played quite a bit this season. You'll see his name a few more times in the starting lineup and stuff. So a very nice performance against Aston Villa, and really good to see Hector getting a hat-trick on, like I say, his first start. And then after that, the rotators lineup did work because we beat Manchester United 2-0. Eden Hazard and Adam Maurice getting the 2 goals in a very nice display against Manchester United. It still means that the manager of Man U has yet to win against me whenever I've played him, even and that includes when he was at Sampdoria and now he's at Man U. So then after that, we played Sevilla, who I would probably say were going to be our toughest competition in the Champions League group, and of course they're second, so I guess in some way that's true. We beat them 2-1, and it was thanks to a 90th minute winner from Jean-Claude Cabot. Brilliant to see the team continue to progress, continue to try and push, even though it was late on in the game. And this is another match that actually started with Kearns in the team. He played at centre mid for us and played really well, put in a very nice performance from centre mid. So good victory there against Sevilla, and that obviously, to me, helped me, pretty much secured our progression through to the next round, because I didn't really see Roma, Partizan, in the next 3 games presenting much of a threat. Next up was Arsenal, and they themselves have a new manager this season, like Manchester United. They now have Philip Cocu. I believe he's a new manager, isn't he? I could be wrong there. I thought they sacked... Yeah, because they sacked Pep. So yeah, he's a new manager this season. So yeah, they're going to be coming up against a new face in a familiar team. And we won 3-0, a very comfortable performance. Arsenal were dominated from start to finish, sort of like the Champions League, sort of like the FA Cup semi-final last season. Parker got us underway very early on. Eden Hazard was able to score in the 53rd minute, and Jean-Claude Cabot was able to just cap it off with a nice, comfortable scoreline. So thrashing Arsenal 3-0 is a really good result for the fans and the squad and everything. Crystal Palace was next up, won 2-0. Kearns got his first ever goal for the club in this game. He came on as a sub for Parker, I believe it was. He came on as a sub, for Parker in the 82nd minute. He actually scored in the 91st minute, so that was great for him. Got his first ever goal for the club. And it was actually a pretty decent goal. I think it was a volley from a corner, this one, if I can remember correctly. And it was a really dominant performance. We deserved a larger scoreline than we currently got. We had a lot of opportunities, a lot of click opportunities and half chances as well. We just didn't really take any of them. So like I say, the second goal was great because it established how the golfing quality between the two teams that there were and was evident in the match. And also gave the lad his first ever goal. So, following that up, we then played against Roma and we won 5-2. And yet again, Kearns scored in the 45th minute. This time he started, and I actually started him in the centre attacking mid-roll because I can envision, I can sort of envision a future in which Kearns replaces Oscar in his latter years, and Oscar maybe then drops back to the centre mid-roll. So I sort of tested it out in this game against Roma, and despite Lacazette, I can't really pronounce that guy's name. God damn it. I was watching a video earlier and it said his name in it. Anyway, yeah, he's scored 2 goals against us, but it was a really great display from us going forward. It was really comfortable, really dominant. 5 different goal scorers, including Kearns, who got a goal. Bellamy got his first ever goal for the club as well, the young left back. And John Stones as well got involved in the scoring. So it was a really good display from our team, despite the fact, 2 defenders did score. It was a really good attacking display. And then after that, we continued our brilliant goal scoring record. 6-1, we beat Southampton. Every time I come up against Southampton, I think I've won. I think that's a record I can really say. Or it seems like whenever we come up against Southampton, it's just a really great display in which we can score a lot of goals and sort of flex our attacking ability. And I do love playing against Southampton. Eden Hazard today got 5 goals, an incredible record for him, a 10 rating as well. Oscar got one in the 40th minute, but yet again another really dominant display and a really great victory. Ipswich then followed that up in the Capital One Cup 4th round. This time we played a completely rotated team. We had Reece Hope in goal, a young goalkeeper of whom is being tipped by the press to be the next Peter Shilton. So a lot of pressure on the young lad's shoulders, but he's developing very well and he's developing under the tutoring of Courtois. So he's got a great mentor, obviously. And he started in this game and actually got the captain's armband. I decided to give it to him because he's got great determination and leadership that you want in a captain. So he started in this match and actually kept a clean sheet. Elsewhere, we had Kearns in this game. We had Emery as well playing in the defence for us. So we had a few youngsters in the squad. And we got a very comfortable and dominant display against Championship team Ipswich. Ryan Gould got his first ever goal for the club, and Kearns continued his pretty good goal scoring streak up, scoring yet again in another very good performance from the young lad. So great victory there, and good to see some young faces and some young English players getting into the team. Next up, we played Liverpool and we drew 1-1. This was a really annoying display because we were really dominant in the first half, and we probably could have had a larger goal margin than just the 1 goal we did get from Jean-Claude Cabba. But we didn't, and in the second half, Liverpool came out. Liverpool were a lot more threatening, and they ended up getting a penalty in the 77th minute to earn themselves a point. Like I say, it was really frustrating because it was a game of 2 halves, and they were dominant in the second. I thought we could hold out, but we didn't, and it was just overall, like I say, a poor performance in the second half from the team. They must have got a little bit complacent. There was no chance in that happening, though, in this next game, as Roma did take the lead in the first minute, and it was then our time to come out and try and illustrate and show what quality we do have, and we did. We did that perfectly. Cabba got one in the 25th minute, giving us a long time left in the match to try and get the winner, and then Eden Hazard stepped up with 15 minutes remaining in the game to actually score the winner. Oscar had a great game in this match as well, a 9 rating. And then very recently we've beaten QPR, who were second in the table at this point. Oh, that's something I should have mentioned. Liverpool at the time when we played them was second. We drew to them. It meant they fell down the table. When we played QPR, they were second in the table. We beat them 3-0. London rivals, nice win against a team around us in the league table, growing out a gap, or trying to anyway. 3 points. Parker, Hazard and Cabba getting 3 goals in the second half. So it took us a little while to finally break down QPR, but when we did, the floodgates sort of opened. And Then it's this match, the Swansea one, the 4-4 game. Now, what's infuriating about this match was, again, we had a lot of chances, a lot of click opportunities, a lot of half chances, and we really should have had a larger margin than we did come the 50th minute. And, okay, in the 50th minute, we scored the second, and that should have been game over, but it wasn't. Yoma got 2 penalties, 2 penalties, and scored both of them, got a hat-trick by the 82nd minute, and then from kickoff after they scored, we then allowed them to score again. So it was 3-3. I was really annoyed then they scored from kickoff. I was so annoyed, so infuriated. Thank God for Eden Hazard stepped up in the 92nd minute to get the equaliser for us. But again, from this match, the thing that annoyed me was that, as you can see from the back 4, we didn't have any of our starting centre-backs. That's because I rested them for the upcoming game against... Oh, actually, I didn't rest them, sorry. They were tired. This was the game after the international break. And both of my centre-backs, Saltos and Maurice, who had both travelled from the Americas, Maurice being from the USA, and Saltos actually playing for Ecuador in the game that we beat them in, and he played in both of their matches. So both of our centre-backs were tired, so I thought, yeah, I could rest them up against Swansea. They're not a very threatening team. And the thing was, we had our normal fullbacks, and our fullbacks let us down. Ferreira gave away the first penalty, Stones gave away the second penalty, and Sutar and Emery actually were pretty solid out there. So it was an annoying game in which the people I thought would possibly let me down ended up being the better players, and the people I thought would be solid for us ended up letting me down. So 4-4, like I say, pretty fortunate to get the draw, sort of like the Leicester game earlier on in the season. So that was a nice thing. And like I say, in this Partizan game that we played very recently, I played a completely different starting 11. No name in there was in the previous game. We had Kern starting for us on the right hand side of the pitch, sort of in the Eden Hazard position. We had Jim Mitchley, who is the youngest ever player to have played for the club in the Premier League. Last season, he broke that record. He made his first start of the season and first appearance of the season. Colin Gell made his first appearance of the season. Also, Peter Schofield, who had gone out on loan, a youngster that had been in my mind last season, but I actually loaned him out. Last season, but he didn't play for me too much because in the end, Bellamy came in on the left side instead of Schofield. But yeah, he started his first ever game for the club in a pretty nice game for him. And like I say, we just had a lot of young players in there. Schofield, Emery, Bellamy, Jim Campbell, Kearns, Mitchley, and Gell. All 7 players had come through our youth system in this. And Reece Hope in goal, I can't forget that. All 8 players have come through our youth system. So it was a really, really predominantly young side. And the fact that we won 3-0 and kept a clean sheet for Reece Hope, our captain. Gell was really, really good. Kearns was extraordinary. He really is a talent, this guy. And he probably is going to become the replacement for Eden Hazard or Oscar. In fact, it says he's a similar player type to Oscar. Like I said, I'm not too sure because we've got Mitchley who can play that centre attacking mid-role. I think Mitchley might be the future sort of Oscar, and then Kearns might be the future Hazard. But he's got the potential to be a world-class player. He's being tutored by who's he being tutored by? It's Oscar. He's being tutored by Oscar because they're similar types of players. So I've got a real high prospects and high hopes for that player in the midfield. And I really do want to try and push him through and produce him and, try and make him a world-class player for England, for the club. And like I say, hopefully as a replacement for Hazard, because them 2 players now, Oscar and Hazard, are going to be started fading out of the team in a few years' time. And we need someone there to try and replace them, hopefully instantly. And like I said, we've got 2 16-year-olds. Well, Mitchley is 16. Kearns is actually turned 17 now. So we've got 2 young players through our youth system that hopefully can do the job, which means we don't have to go and look for a signing in a few years' time. So yeah, those are all the fixtures. And as you can see, it's been extraordinary. We score a lot of goals. In fact, there's only 4 games where we've scored 1 goal only. So we seem to score a lot. We seem to outscore our opposition. But not only that, we are still very solid defensively. In the Premier League, you can see that there are a few sort of weird league positions. Tottenham were struggling recently and they've actually now started going up the league. Their new manager was actually very close to being sacked at one point. Manchester City's new manager, Jose Mourinho, he is not having the best of times at Manchester City. This is the first time I'll get to play Mourinho, which I'm excited about. Manchester United's new manager, again, is not really working out. He's down in 7th place, so a lot of pressure on these teams around here, 7th to 9th, because they're not really performing. As well, Fulham, who had a really good year last year, they're sort of struggling. Brendan Rodgers is probably under a little bit of pressure as well. So, no one's really performing up to the standard you probably expect. Everton are having an extraordinary season, and it comes down to one player, really, and it's Izzy Brown, the player that actually comes through our youth system at the start of the game, and actually someone I was sort of interested in signing when I originally joined, but then I realised that Cabba was a beast, so I didn't really need him. But Izzy Brown has been great this year. He has scored 11 goals, which is equal to Eden Hazard's goal record this year. Eden Hazard continuing to score for us, continuing to score a lot of goals. 11 goals this season in how many starts has he got? It must be, I think he's played 11 games. So yeah, 11 in 11, a goal per game for Eden Hazard. But yeah, if it wasn't for Brown, Everton wouldn't be where they currently are. So it's a credit to him, the Englishman. But yeah, it's still, Everton are right behind us right now, but I don't really feel too much pressure on them. We've yet to play Everton. Like I said, we're undefeated. We're yet to play Everton. They're coming up in December time, in between a few tricky fixtures of Fulham and the quarter-final itself. So, fingers crossed we can still be undefeated by that stage, because, of course, City coming up is going to be a tricky challenge. But, yeah, I'm sort of like last year. Last year, the first half of the season, I didn't really feel we were being challenged too much. I mean, Fulham were there and thereabout, but in the end, they faded away. And I can see, or somewhat see, Everton fading away. Now, for Liverpool and Arsenal, I think they'll be our title challengers this season. Most notably Liverpool, because yet again, Alberto Tonconi, the 24-year-old Italian who was absolutely incredible last year, is continuing to score this season and continuing to score at an alarming rate. And actually scored the penalty against us, of course, to get the draw. So, You know, it's just about continuing this pace up, and you know, if we lose, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. But it's it's about, you know, just continuing the streak that we're currently on, just a lot of wins and rarely dropping points. So let's go into this game against a disappointing City. I actually thought we were at the game. My bad. As you can see, I've got a few fixture lists coming up, quite a lot of fixtures coming up in a short spell of time. But yeah, let's go into this game. So 56,238 people here at Zola Arena. Still yet to really max out our capacity here at the new stadium. That's something that will hopefully come over time, though, as we increase our reputation of the team and make ourselves a world-beating side. A few changes to the team than what you last saw me. Jim Campbell, basically Nathan Pearce, the young centre defensive mid, not really performing at the standard I'd expect him to. So what I did is I decided to give Jim Campbell a chance in the past 2 games. And if we go on to his form, you can see that he's actually played really well against Swansea and Partizan. So he's earned himself a starting spot in the game against Man City today. John Mbele has been beast. He's come back from injury and just been extraordinary. A different class than he was last year, which was great. You know, proving the money I spent on him was worthwhile. But apart from that, it's a bog standard team for us. So it's Courtois in goal, Stones, Santos, Maurice, and Ferreira as our defence. Campbell defence midfielder, and Mbele centre midfielder. Hazard, Oscar, Parker, and our attacking midfield side, and Cabra up front. The bench is Cragno, as our backup goalkeeper, Sutar, Bellamy, Nathan Pearce, Sydney, Gould, and Hector. Now you'll notice that Kearns is currently out of the team. Basically, he got injured in a game very recently, because what we've had recently is the under-21s cup and the under-18s cup, and I decided that, you know, it's nice for the younger players to actually get a taste in them competitions at their youth level. So I allowed Kearns, Mitchley, Gel, and Emery all to play in them tournaments at the lower youth level, and Kearns picked up an injury. Mitchley is tired. Emery wouldn't be in the team anyway, so you know, that's the only reason why Kearns isn't in the team. I decided, yeah, it's better for him to go. Play at the under-21s and under-18s level, play in them under-18s cup and under-19s cup, rather than be on the bench and maybe get 10 minutes at the end of this City game, because it's a very big game. And despite Kearns being given a chance in big games, you know, for this one, I'm not going to do anything. But he did pick up an injury in the previous youth game. He's out for 4 weeks with a fractured arm, but hopefully that won't disrupt any of his tutoring, and hopefully that won't hinder any of his stats too much. So let's go into this game. Been incredible this year. We've got 4 players as well nominated for the Ballon d'Or. It's Eden Hazard, Oscar, Cabba, and Parker. So our four attacking players are all nominated for the Ballon d'Or award. I actually voted very recently. I gave Hazard first, Oscar second, and I think I gave Parker third, because they had the 3 highest average ratings out of our team. So a little bit biased, but I'm using my Brazil and Chelsea connection to try and vote for the people I want to, because as a Brazilian coach, you can't vote for Brazilian... Actually, yeah, as a Brazilian coach, you can't vote for Brazilian players. So I don't know how I was able to vote for Oscar. Unless that rule's changed. I don't know, but yeah, basically I tried to help my players get the Ballon d'Or. I think Eden Hazard is in with a great shout, but there have been some other great performances this year in Europe, so that was he might not win it. And also as well, one thing I want to mention is James McCarthy, a player who I used to have at this team and I actually sold after my first year to Atletico Madrid, if you can remember James McCarthy at this side. He's actually nominated for the Ballon d'Or. He's had a great year with Atletico Madrid, especially the start of this season. He's been incredible. So I sold him for like 4-point-something million. His value is probably a lot more than that now. So yeah, I don't really care anyway. I think we've got some great players anyway in place of McCarthy. So the team for today, I've noticed, is quite a defensive team for City. What I've been reading is, before the game, apparently City play a very direct style of football. So I think that favours us, because we do like to play tiki-taka sort of possession game. They've got Cristiano Ronaldo up front. I mentioned City had Cristiano Ronaldo last time we played them, I believe. I definitely mentioned it in a previous video, and this is the first time I think I'm going to come up against him starting. He played really well last year, you know, for a £2.3 million signing, but not so much this season. I'm surprised he's still starting up front, because physically, I don't think he's got it. I mean, mentally and technically, Ronaldo's still, you know, mentally he's still a great player, but technically and physically, yeah, he's sort of going. So, 38 years young, still chugging along. At least that's a record you can't really deny. Although I don't really see that happening in real life. Ronaldo, I imagine, once he gets to a certain stage, he'll just think, yeah, I'll call it a day. I picked up enough money. Kevin De Bruyne is a real player in there. Ex-Chelsea player, of course. So is Kurt Zouma. Our centre-back, Doria, is in the team. Nastasic is a real player, of course, is actually probably the only existing City player to still be in the team, and Lukaku is on the bench. So a few ex-Chelsea names in there. Ex-Chelsea manager, of course, Jose Mourinho. He refused to comment because there was a question in the press before this game about you know, how he left the side I came in and suddenly found success. And he refused to answer the question pretty much. He just said, yeah, I'm not here to talk about the other manager. I then went out and criticised the fact that he's got a very old side, and I'll look to expose that. He then said I was very disrespectful. So it sort of had a little bit of a tussle up in the press. I thought with Jose Mourinho, you've got to try and play some mind games with him. You know, you've got to try and get under his skin. Although I do, of course, admire him in real life and, of course, in the game. And it's, you know, his view towards me is that he still thinks we can become friends. So, of course, there's no necessary bad feelings between the two. It's just that he manages City, a title rival, and, of course, a Premier League rival. So I'm going to try and do what I can to get an advantage in the game. So a pretty boring first half. Only one chance from us, and it came to Jean-Claude Cabba. But hopefully the second half can be a little bit better. Man City yet to really threaten us. Not a shot on target, in fact, from City. So no real threat in the other end. It's just about going forward and getting a goal from us. They've got Glover in goal. Joe Hart, I think, is going to be leaving at the end of the season, Man City. He's 36 years of age, and I don't think they're going to play him anymore. So that'll be a name that will leave the side forever. You know, it's sort of strange because I'm at that spell now where people are sort of retiring. I still see names like Tim Krul at Newcastle, but he's 35, so he'll probably be leaving soon. In fact, it's Cristiano Ronaldo. And wow, City take the lead. And it is Zhirkov, I believe. Is it Zhirkov? Or is it Zikovic? Might be like that. Cristiano Ronaldo with the assist, just not getting close enough to him, Saltos. And in the end, despite 3 yellow shirts being around him, it's a beautiful finish. Absolutely beautiful finish. Got to hold my hands up to that. First shot on target, and what a first shot on target. So, how will we respond to this? That's the question. Saltos, Hazard to Cabba. Will we get an instant reply? No, we don't. It is pushed wide by defender. Parker looking to whip this one in. Can't find a yellow shirt though. Waste of a corner. I'm thinking Cabba might have to come off. Not really performing. In fact, what I'll do is I'll talk to Cabba and tell him that I'm going to demand more from him. He's got to go out there and score. We're going to go to a more attacking mentality. Of course, we're undefeated, and even if we get a draw today, I still wouldn't say that's necessarily a bad result. I mean, based on City's form, we should be doing more, but at least we'd be undefeated still. I'd like to go for an invincible season. I think the squad is capable of doing it. Here's Berardi. In fact, if City get a second now, it could be all over that undefeated streak. Here's De Bruyne through, and he's just rounded the keeper with ease. No trouble. I think we're going to go with this. Alright, so we're going to bring Ryan Gould on. Put Eden Hazard out on the left. We're going to take Jean-Claude Cabba off, being on Hector. And see what we can do. Parker's just coming off because of his slight injury and stuff. And I think Hazard's got a little bit of magic that we could need in this game. But I don't know if we're going to get it. There's 10 minutes remaining. If we want to get a draw out of this game, we're going to have to score now. Saltos, ball forward. It does go through. Ryan Gould is going to be one-on-one. He's got to finish it. Fuck you, Ryan Gould. How could you not finish that? He gets another chance, and how has Hector not found the back of the net? That is 2 world-class chances for our team, and the players of our quality there, we should be converting them. And our undefeated streak in the season has come to an end to Manchester City and to Jose Mourinho. That's shocking, lads. Absolutely shocking. Shouldn't be losing to them. I'm going to tell you that as well. So it's our first defeat of the season, our first defeat of the year in all competitions, and it actually ends a streak of, I believe, like 20 games undefeated. I'm going to send the assistant there as well. I don't even care. But we finally lose it. 16 games in a row since the end of last season to now. We've been undefeated. So now it's about, you know, trying to turn it back around and start another run-up, start another impressive streak up. Wigan away and Aston Villa away, I think they're 2 very winnable games, and I think we can start another streak. It'll just be around this I reckon this sort of spell. Tottenham at home. Tottenham are always a tricky team. Swansea at home, Everton at home, and Fulham away. Those will be the tricky spell of games, but if we can get through them, we can do very well. Now, the next time I'll meet you back will either be, I think, the Man U Arsenal game, if we don't get to a Capital One Cup final. But if we do get to a Capital One Cup final, it will, of course, be then, so that'll be around mid-February time. So we'll have the transfer window been and gone, although I don't really see myself making too many transfers. In fact, I don't see myself making any transfers. I'm very happy with the squad, how it is. So yeah, this will be it for now, guys. Until next time, peace out.